rider with the Oregonian, riding away from you on a horse here in the Duffy Lake Trail. My first time on a horse, and I'm having a great time so far. There's a bunch of lakes out here. A bunch of trees, too.
I'd never ridden a horse before, but after an Oregonian executive bought a wilderness excursion at an auction and couldn't go, I was happy to hop in the saddle. The trip was led by Jim Fisher and his friend Don Welliver, who take people out to raise money for a nonprofit. Over 3 days and 2 nights, we'd explore the Eight Lakes Basin in Central Oregon, with a base camp in the shadow of Three Fingered Jack.
I enjoy the wilderness. I enjoy being out with the horses, working the horses. And so it's just an opportunity to do that. And it's also an opportunity I really enjoy taking people who haven't been in the wilderness much on these trips, and to bring them out and let them experience the horses and the wilderness together.
Having hiked and backpacked, I gotta say, I love the horseback. You're not exerting any energy walking at all or carrying your own stuff. The horses do it all for you. So this is a beautiful day here in the middle of summer. Got some clouds and a little bit of sun. Temperature's perfect. As you can see, we got a great look at Three Fingered Jack here, with some great alpine meadow right beneath it. The flowers here are blooming pretty well. As the first day drew to a close, Jim and Don fed and watered the horses, and we ate dinner around a roaring campfire. Deer wandered past our camp as we traded stories and shooed away mosquitoes. I wasn't nearly as sore as some people had warned me I'd be, but I was ready for bed by dusk and eager to rest up for a longer ride in the morning. So we're here on day 2 of our 3-day horseback trip through the Mount Jefferson Wilderness with Jim and Don. Then we're going to go on a little day trip up to some of the other lakes here in the Eight Lakes Basin. It's a beautiful summer day, and looking forward to get back in the saddle.
I think it's different for each person. I like it because I like the solitude of being out here. I like the beauty. I mean, this is God's country, and just to see the majesticness of it, to me, is totally awesome. I live a really busy life at home, and once I get on the trailhead, we're going 3.5 miles an hour, and the world slows down. Your phone's turned off because it doesn't work. You don't have a computer to check. It's just you and the horse and the wilderness. To me, it's very relaxing. It's a lot of work, but it's also very relaxing.
Our route took us through a forest of dead trees that had burned more than a decade before. Signs of the forest's slow but steady recovery surrounded us as we rode past Mowich and Alice Lakes before taking a break at Jorn Lake.
Oh, hey, we're here on horseback here at Jorn Lake on the Eight Lakes Basin. We're stopping to saw a log that's down across the trail here. And the horses are getting a little restless. Camera horses in particular.
We reached Blue Lake by the early afternoon and sat on its shore to eat lunch. Bare grass and young trees ringed the rocks we rested on as we watched the wind ripple the water. I felt a sense of calm isolation wash over me, with the realization that we were practically alone in a wilderness where nature feels more at home without us. After lunch, Don offered to switch saddles with me, giving me a chance on his mule, Lewis, as we headed back toward camp. We rode through another forest full of old, burned trees to the shore of Mowich Lake, where we stopped for another quick break. I find out the mule is a little bit of a different experience than riding a horse. A little bit bouncier, and the little barrel-shaped body is a bit different. And he is just trying to, come on, dude. He's just trying to get something to eat, I think. So we're about to head back to camp for our second night, sitting underneath the stars and hanging around the campfire. As we neared camp, we encountered a few downed trees that had fallen across the trail. Up until then, we'd either hopped over low logs or gone around higher ones when we needed to, each animal following Jim's lead up front. For whatever reason, this time was different. As most of the group proceeded around the log, Lewis suddenly broke away, walking back to the trail and facing the log head on. I didn't think he would dare try to jump it, but suddenly he did.
Of course, I ended up sliding right off his back and awkwardly kind of placed myself against a tree and trying to get myself off the saddle without hurting myself. But thankfully did pretty well. Got off there without too much injury. And figured out, sometimes you gotta keep a little bit of a tighter rein with some horses, or mules in this case. Now, buddy.
That night, we once again sat around the campfire and ate the hearty dinner Jim had prepared. The sun set beyond Santiam Lake, and we retired to our tents, groggy from a big meal and a long day in the sun, the soft sounds of the horses lulling us to sleep. In the morning, we had breakfast and packed up our things. All that was left was a ride back to the trailhead, where we'd part ways with Jim, Don, and the horses, and head back to Portland. The sky was as clear as it had been the whole trip, and I felt a new level of comfort on my horse after a couple days of experience. As we passed sweaty hikers and backpackers, I was happy to have someone else do the hard work for me, and to have had the chance to experience the beautiful Oregon wilderness in a new way.
I'm not sure if people realize how many millions of acres of wilderness we have in the lower 48. I just wish more people could find a way to get into the wilderness and just to unplug for a little while and realize what's here. It's quite majestic.